Mindset. You know, I have a lot of people that talk to me and we all wonder, how much does your mindset have to do with procrastination or putting things off? And, the answer is that your mindset actually has quite a lot to do with how you procrastinate, why you procrastinate, and in the end, what you're actually going to do or when you're going to do the thing that you've been putting off. So let me give you 3 quick tips on how you can hack your mindset in order to do that thing that you've been putting off for so long that's going to move the needle ever so much in that direction where you really, really want to go. Let's dive into it. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about when we're talking about mindset is we're going to be talking about reframing. Specifically, in this case, we're going to talk about reframing the task. And when we reframe the task, we're changing this from an either I have to I get to or I choose to. Now, the reason that we're reframing this is because we're very autonomous beings. Okay, we don't like being told what to do. I mean, who here? I want you out there. I dare you. Out there. I want you to put down in the comments if you enjoy being told what to do. And I am not talking about certain other aspects that I'm sure your mind is going to right now. I am specifically talking about normal everyday tasks or tasks that you need to do to move forward to get to where you want to go in life. Okay, good. Now, when I'm talking about tasks and have to versus, get to and choosing to. Now, when we say that we have to do something, right? We get really constricted. And you can try this yourself even. Just say, think to yourself, I have to, and then think about something that you have to do that you really don't like doing, and then think I have to do that thing. So for example, it might be for me, it's I have to do the dishes. I have to do the dishes. But that feels very constricting. It feels like, ooh, no, I don't want to do that. No, why would I do that? However, if we then replace that with get to, okay, so I get to do the dishes. I get to do the dishes because uh, I had food to put on the dishes. I get to do the dishes because, I got to share my food with other people that I love. And when you say I get to do those dishes, the feeling will unconstrict a little bit because you're coming from a place of gratitude. The second part of that you can use is if you can't, get to the point of I get to, which really you should really try to do because it's one of the best ways to really change your mindset in just so many areas of your life, not just the particular thing you have to do. Gratitude goes a long way, but I will go into that in other videos. We'll leave that aside for now. So we're talking about have to versus get to. Now let's talk about versus choose to. Now I know I'm going to get some pushback on this idea because I know I have. And I know that down in the comments, you're going to be putting all sorts of different things where there's going to be exceptions to this rule, right? However, hear me out. You always have a choice. Always. Okay. Now, I know that you're going to come up with all these extreme circumstances where you say you had no choice. There was no choice. There's always a choice. There are 2 things in this life that are not a choice. Okay. And the first thing is that you don't choose to come into this world. You don't choose that. Well, okay. Unless you want to get into some other spiritual side of things. But for the sake of argument, we're going to say that you specifically are not choosing to come in here right now. And you don't choose when you get to leave. And again, I know that somebody's going to point out certain things, but coming in and going out really aren't a choice, right? Everything else is a choice. Is an active choice. And once you take back your power and you're in your power, that is such a powerful thing. And you'll realize that you can do anything that you want to, and you can do anything that you need to, and you're always choosing to. So, and here's how we get back to those situations where you think you have no choice, right? And again, it's because of perceived negative consequences, perhaps. But I mean, there's always a choice to accept negative consequences to doing things. So if somebody tells you they forced you to do the dishes, like when we say with children and doing chores, my mom's forcing me to do my homework. Well, no, she's not. You're choosing to do the homework because you know that the consequence to that is going to be her taking your phone away. I mean, you can argue that that is forcing, but it's really not. because you can still choose to not have that phone. I mean, is it going to be unpleasant? Yes, but you can still choose that, right? Now, for any kids that are watching, you obviously always want to choose to do your homework because it's what's in your best interest for you, and your parents always have your best interests at heart. Okay, so I will go there, but I mean, it is a choice. Now, let's move on from reframing and let's move on to positive triggers. I love positive triggers. What are some positive triggers, right? So whenever you have a task that you don't like doing and you can't really see the why behind it, because I always say when your why is high, your cost is low. So you want these triggers, these positive triggers or cues that will show you that when you finish a task or as you're doing a task, that's going to get you to where you want to go, your positive outcome that you want to do to get the task done, right? So let me give you an example. So in your business, if you really don't like answering emails, or you really don't like receiving emails or talking to customers or dealing with those things, then change the sound in your inbox to a ka-ching. And I can see some of you laughing out there like, why would I change my sound on my email to a ka-ching? Well, think about this. You don't like talking to customers. It's a part of the job you hate the most. But customers mean revenue. Revenue means money. Money means I can do things, good services, things that I want. So every time you get an email, instead of you thinking, oh man, this is just another thing I don't want to deal with, it's coming in as ka-ching, money, right? Revenue. That's a good thing. That's a very positive thing. That's something you want to focus on in your business, right? Or, as we're doing chin ups at a gym, I've seen people that are doing chin ups at a gym and they will have a picture of, Mr. Universe or whatever it is they're doing. So every time they do a chin up and they get there, that they did it, they're seeing a picture of that ultimate image of what they want to be, right? So there's that. So that kind of motivation as well. So any kind of positive trigger you can have, which will let you know that you're getting closer to where you want to be, is going to help immensely in getting those tasks done. Now, lastly, I want to talk to you about your inner dialogue audit. Oh man, inner dialogues. Holy crap. They're called roommates. They're called, the inside out control board. They're called dials, you call them inner dialogues, and we are our own worst enemies. Like, I can't believe this. I mean, we get so down on ourselves. We talk ourselves out of 98% of the things that when you're avoiding something and you are looking at it, 98% of that is often just you talking badly about yourself or you talking badly about the task, and it's all judgments basically. But just remember as I'm saying this, that it comes from a place of trying to be helpful. I mean, these inner dialogues, they're trying to be helpful because they're trying to keep you safe from some sort of discomfort. So just remember that as well when we're talking about this. But I mean, just think about this. I'm going to take, cleaning up the dog poop, right? So I can go outside and I can say, oh man, I really don't want to pick up the dog poop. Oh man, the dog's, whatever, dumb or whatever. Oh, why can't the dumb dog poop in one spot? Or, you know, oh, it's too hot out here. I really don't like doing this. Well, you're resisting it, and what you resist persists. So your brain is automatically going to slow down and make sure you capture every painful, excruciatingly boring moment of picking up that dog poop. Then if you just whistle while you work, it's like do 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 plop, sing a happy tune, and you'll notice it goes done a lot faster. The second part to that is when we get down on ourselves and we say we can't do it. Well, just remember, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And I have this discussion so often with people who are trying to study something or learn something new. If they say they can't do it, they can't do it. They're building up that self-evidence that they can't. So they'll actually in the end self-sabotage so they won't actually get the thing done, which proves them right, which gives the ego more reason to actually be in existence. It's amazing how that works. And, I hope that these tips helped you today. If you like these, give a thumbs up, post down in the comments below your thoughts about this, join in the conversation and, you know, keep tuning in for more videos. See you again next time.